Hey, it's Pat the Pauper, and we're here with our Steam replay of 2024. Yes, this is right. Now it's the time of year. We've just gotten past the big holidays at the end of December, and we're starting that introspective retrospect. So, looking at what I got into. So, if you guys are Steam players as well, all you got to do, go up to your you hit your name and then hit year in review. Right down here brings you to your very own page. So let's go ahead, dive right in and see what it was like. If you enjoy any of these, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what your numbers look like. How many games did you get into? How many achievements were you able to hunt down? Very interested in knowing that kind of stuff. So hit me up down below. Wow, cannot believe it. 41 games played this year. Gotta say, that was kind of impressed with that. And the big one for me, I got invited to a closed play test. Jotunheim. Yeah, Jotun Slayers, Hordes of Hell. Was not thoroughly impressed, which, as you can tell, that's why it was such a forgettable name to me. It was a Vampire Survivors-like game, but it was really early on. I gave as much feedback as I was able to, but never really came to anything of it. I was very happy to be invited, so I gotta say that's something that's definitely changed a lot for me in 2024. 35 new games, 25 more than last year, for sure. Definitely recently got more into the PC gaming. Definitely slid out of the Xbox play area, although, ironically, I use my Xbox controller very frequently. As you can see, 86% keyboard and mouse. Definitely most games, that's, city builders, it's hard to play with an Xbox controller, but I definitely did more than my fair share of Enter the Gungeon on this one. So definitely reflective. It's actually going up. I just got Red Dead Redemption 2 a couple of weeks ago, and man, that is quite the experience on the rig I got going now. 363 achievements, not too shabby. Definitely up very heartily from previous year. 33 games and 27 rare achievements. Oh, I wonder what they were. I'm not going through that. We're not doing all that searching. That would be unsatisfactory. Unlike this, man, 32% of all my playtime was spent playing Satisfactory. 137 separate times I loaded that up. Oh man, I love these cards. This is great. Satisfactory, you were a walking industrial revolution. Yeah, absolutely, man. I totally feel that. 21-day streak. Yep, totally. Yeah, I did get quite a lot of achievements and a couple of screenshots, actually. We did an entire series on that. Felt really happy. Didn't quite get to the end of it, but sort of petered out. 1.0 launch came out and things were quite a lot different. Had a couple of play sessions with Matt, so that was super fun. I might get back into this, but if I do, I'm going to spend way too much time. Yeah, 355 hours. That's a little bit much. I know if I get back into it, it's going to be very similar. Funnily enough, a lot of that is AFK time because of the way the game works. You just aren't always sitting there playing it. The game's churning and doing stuff, racking up them numbers, making smaller numbers, bigger numbers. And Terraria, same kind of dealio. 11% total playtime, 51 sessions for sure. I started off the year very strong in January, and I kind of picked it up a bit later on. Yeah. I got back into some of the modding that they had, Tmod Loader. Shout out to you guys. Great work. Constantly working on keeping that updated. And yeah, I mean, it's Terraria. A phenomenal game. If you have not played it, you're missing out. It's only, I don't know, $10, give or take. It's still getting content, actually. They say that they were doing their Journey's End update, but it was not the end of their journey by any stretch. And then we got Last Epoch, action role-playing games. Honestly, 2024 was a banger year for people. I mean, take it or leave it, how many different games came out. I think there was something for everybody, and especially now with Path of Exile 2, shout out #Poe. But there was a lot of time for me in this one. I checked it out. I think it was 80 hours I did on this. Yeah, 79.6. So not a small amount of time spent in this. Very early in the year. It was super fun. I liked it. The time travel stuff that they did for their story was very interesting. They actually had something they were trying to tell. A little bit confusing, but I mean, for the most part, in games, I skip past as many stories as I can. Smash that button. And I was playing Hogwarts Legacy last night, and I just keep smashing that button so I can get through those dialogues. I mean, it is what it is. How do I compare? Stack your year against the rest of the Steam community. Oh, what were the little things here? Terraria, your building creation is as impressive as your tunnels. Yeah, for sure. I feel that. Last Epoch, you crafted gear and fought throughout time. Yeah, see, time travel and stuff. I unlocked 363 achievements. Steam median, so the average number that someone submits is 13. Oh my lord. That's 350 more. I can't even do math like that. That's way too many. Way too much. I played a lot more. I mean, right here, I played 41 games. Average person, median number entry, right? 4. That's 10 times as many. My longest streak was 34 days. Okay, yep, for sure. Median, 6. Yeah, I mean, YouTube content creator, what can I say? Between that and just being a hardcore nerd and loving video games. Oh, interesting. Breakdown. I love how they do this. Man, Steam. Go Gavin. 26% new releases. Percentage of playtime in new release. Games from 24. Okay. 15% of playtime spent by all-out Steam users. Okay, so a little bit more in new gaming than people normally do. Okay. Classic games. Less time playing games from 8 years or more. That's interesting. Especially with, like, what I have for my library. That's funny. And recent favorites. Playtime you had released from the last 1 to 7 years. Oh, okay. I mean, realistically, these aren't terribly far off by any huge numbers, so... just a little bit different. Oh, this is cool. Man, I love this. Alright. Here's... You are what you play. The spider graph shows the kind of games you spent the most time in 2024. Roguelike deck builders. Okay, for sure. Real-time strategy games. Absolutely. Between that and, like, colony sims and stuff, for sure. Open world survival crafting. This is definitely what they consider satisfactory under. All of this, I mean, this really fits in. Life sim? What is considered life sim in these games that I've played? I'm racking my brain here. Yeah, no, it may be Farming Simulator. Honestly, it might be it. Might be Farming Simulator 22 is what hit that life sim. Tick that box right there. That's funny. By the numbers, new friends added 7. I gotta say, I am a social butterfly. I am forever burgeoning. Cheers to me. Reviews written. I am kind of that guy on the internet. I do like to put out some reviews. Let's see. Workshop subscriptions, Fiverr, some badges. I did share a couple of screenshots, and I bought somebody a game. Yeah, I actually bought 2 people a game. No. Yeah, I bought 2 people games, but one was through another website, so it didn't actually register through Steam. Yeah, I bought some people some stuff. It was nice, you know. I'm not gonna out anybody. It's whatever. Let's take a closer look at your top played games. Okay. Satisfactory. We looked at this. I mean, 28 achievements. And these are what, rare ones? The lizard doggo is kind of overpowered. Riding on the flying manta thing, yeah, you can actually pet that thing. Build lots of pipelines. The cyber wagon, that's a funny story. If you put a coupon in the Awesome Sink, you can unlock the Cyber Wagon. It's a piece of crap, just like the real joke of it. Coffee. Yeah, I mean, buy and do the coffee thing. Terraria, for sure. Love it. It's funny how much Terraria I've played on the Xbox, and because this is Steam, it just does not translate all of my achievements and like time played. It's interesting. Xbox Live, I met one of like my online friends that I've known for years and years through Terraria. He needed help in the Golem. Yeah, beat the temple, need to unlock the Golem, and then we spent hours and hours getting to know each other one afternoon, and still we're Facebook friends. We text and stuff. Last Epoch, yeah, it was 2 very intense months. This is 99% of the time I have ever played this game was over 2 months, and it was 80 hours. Yeah. Oh man, Oxygen not included. Super underrated game. It's got a very Don't Starve kind of art style. You can see it's very heavy line drawing, a bold use of blacks as outlining. It's a colony builder game. You are a couple of these clones. I don't know why. That's just whatever the story. They get teleported into the center of an meteoroid, and you start building a colony. And as the name suggests, oxygen is not included. They really should have included oxygen. And you mine the asteroid that you're in, and it therefore creates a vacuous space, fills up with carbon dioxide, oxygen, methane, natural gases, hydrogen, sulfur, all sorts of different stuff. The game is absolutely Dwarf Fortress like depth. It is actually kind of cute too. Yeah, very fun. Spent a good amount of time playing that. How much? Tell me. 76 hours. I feel pretty good about that too. I mean, super fun time. Love that game. Would suggest it, all of these games. I mean, I don't think I would have played this amount of time. Oh, chef's kiss. I would not have spent as much time as I have playing these games if I did not legitimately think that they were really fun. And Farthest Frontier is exactly an example of that. In-depth medieval era city builder. You mine for a couple of, you don't really like mine a whole lot. You like do set up some mines or quarries or whatever, some resource gathering, but it is more about building the city. There's a mechanic about decoration. People have to be happy to like upgrade their own homes, and you're constantly balancing that aspect where you put different things. So like a saw pit, I would hate if there was a giant carpentry manufacturer outside of my house. So do the people in the game. So you have to be very careful of where you're placing certain types of items and things. Super fun, intricate, and they're constantly putting out stuff. They didn't meet their 2025 1.0 launch, so they're doing it for Q1 25. I've actually waited a while to do a series on that because they are looking to very, very much so change a lot of the gameplay for their 1.0 release, and I will spend way too much time doing that. Playtime by month. Oh, this is an interesting breakdown. Oh, pretty. Terraria. 99% in Terraria. Clearly, I was a dedicated January. Last Epoch, same kind of deal. That was where I spent most of my time, followed by Farthest Frontier. You'll probably see that a lot, how much Farthest Frontier comes up. Along with Nordic Ashes. Punch Club 2 demo. Forgettable, apparently. Farthest Frontier, for sure. Last Epoch. And a bunch of random shit. Helldivers 2 came out. It's a good game. It's just not my kind of game. Shout out to Richie Dubs, Prime, Time Capsule. You guys are great. Thank you for having me along with you. And I, again, very sorry for screaming, "This is not okay. I'm scared. Oh God, please help me." That's pretty much my experience with Helldivers 2. It's a very intense game. Difficult enough in its own sense, but it's just that it's so intense. It's not my type of style. Fallout 4, the classic, played way too much of it. Nordic Ashes, Survivors Ragnarok, of course, great game. Farthest Frontier. Nova Drift. Okay, Nova Drift, again, roguelike kind of thing. Imagine Vampire Survivors, except it's like you took acid before you did it, and you're in space. Yeah. Maniac, it's like Grand Theft Auto 2, like that weird top-down angle, and you're like a crazy clown. I don't know if I would suggest it. It is definitely not for everybody. Oxygen not included. I don't know if that's when I first got it, but I mean, that was clearly when I spent a lot of time getting into it. Markiplier actually did a little bit of a series on that. He's not super good at that type of game. Hades 2 came out in May. It was fine when it came out. Honestly, I've got like 4 hours in the game, which is wild because I've got 80 probably in Hades 1. I mean, I did a playthrough of it. I'm quite experienced in the game. Hades 2, dynamic change in a lot of the gameplay mechanics, and it didn't really like jive with me. It didn't tickle my fancy, didn't hit a lot of my, sync triggers where I could just sit and play the game for run after run, night after night. It just didn't quite have that. Balatro, I gotta say, if it were a little bit easier, if I were better at math, if I weren't like so dumb, comment below. If I were smarter, Balatro would probably be more entertaining, which is why Matt's been playing the ever-loving crap out of it. Guy's got like 80 hours in like 2 weeks. It's like an actual job to him. Balatro, I think it won Mobile Game of the Year at the Video Game Awards. Huge hit, roguelite deck builder game based some very loosely around poker. Again, Oxygen not included, of course. Satisfactory. And so Frostpunk, I was playing some of that. Good game. City builder. Love that kind of stuff. Strategy. Very laid back. Interesting. I was getting ready for Frostpunk 2, and I think that's going to be in the next block here. And I was very disappointed with that. Holy shit. 90% satisfactory. Some random stuff. I got Grand Theft Auto 5 for some reason at that point. Great game. I mean, don't get me wrong. It looks phenomenal on the setup here. I think it's mostly because all the hype for GTA 6 started popping off, and I was really nostalgic for it. Yeah, I have to scroll down just to look at this giant list. Holy crap. GTA 5, Farthest Frontier. Traveler's Rest. It's like a cute game and everything. Sorry, car alarm's going off in my neighborhood, which is weird because I don't really have a neighborhood. I'll be right back. Yeah, cool. So that's life. Welcome to being an adult. I just opened my window and screamed like a madman, and it made the problem stop, believe it or not. Again, Traveler's Rest. I kind of think it's overrated. The people call it like a cozy builder type game. You inherit a pub from your grandfather, something like that. It's very Stardew Valley-esque, especially with the art style they chose. And you build a tavern. And similar to Farthest Frontier, they have like a decoration type mechanic where that is your rank to get more people in, more patrons buying higher quality items, stuff like that. The controls for it are bullshit. They need like a complete rework. That's exactly it. The controls for it are bullshit. It needs a complete rework, and that's why I don't play it anymore. Horizon Zero Dawn trademark complete edition, and that's, I gotta say, I'm glad I got that for like $8. Right? I got the special edition. It was cheap, and I'm glad that I didn't pay much for it because I've not played it a lot. Reason being, I think that is like the epitome of a game that I would rather watch someone play than actually play it. It's a really cool concept, but the actual execution of like holding the controller and doing the things, I found kind of boring. Like, I would rather just watch Luke Stevens talk about it for 2 straight hours than play it for 30 hours. I know it's a harsh criticism, but I got like 15 hours into the game. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm done here. It's just more of this until the story completes. And honestly, I can just watch like a 4K version of that on YouTube, like the entire story, just condensed down. So that's what I did. It's sad. It's not, but it is. Again, Maniac. Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, no trademark. Same kind of deal. It's really fun to do Spider-Man stuff. That's about it. Like slinging webs, flying through the city, going from building to building, beating up some criminals. That's fun. Outside of that, the story's kind of bullshit. Spider-Man's always been one of my least favorite characters because he's not relatable. Realistically, I think he needs to just own up to being a superhero and saying, hey, love's hard. Let's just not do that. And unfortunately, like many of these superhero games, like too many games, they force you to play as another character. I wanted to play as Spider-Man, right? No, there's multiple times where you have to play as Mary Jane Watson, who is just a regular person. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's smart, she's strong, heroic, and all that. That's not my issue. It's that you have to do those bullshit stealth missions as another character. It just wasted so much time. I uninstalled the game and then came back to it and was like, oh no, I'm still on this Mary Jane mission. I don't want to do this whatsoever. Plowed through it 40 minutes and I was just unhappy to have done it, and it felt like a gate to get back to being Spider-Man. And that's pretty much why I don't play it. Craftlings, it's pretty much Lemmings. If you've ever played Lemmings, it's that, but not as good. And if you've never played Lemmings, well, you're way younger than me. I don't know why you like this channel. Farming Simulator 22, again, played it on the Xbox a whole lot. Really fun game. On the computer, it is even better. Short and simple of that. Was super excited for Farming Simulator 25. I'm really glad I did not buy it on like day one or do any of that early access stuff, because like many games, it came out pretty broken, kind of buggy from what I understand. So really glad I missed that. Let's see, what do we got? Farthest Frontier, Satisfactory. Holy moly. Enter the Gungeons up in here. One of my favorites. Again, Xbox player. I scored all of the achievements, I think, in that. I don't know if there's anything I haven't done. Oh, I have not beaten the Rat King, but I fought him a couple of times. Like, I'm that into it. And then we got Hard Space Shipbreaker. I don't even know if it's actually like game. You work in a space dock. A bunch of old ships come in, one-on-one. Like, you choose which one you want to work on from a list, and you go in with like a gravity gun kind of thing, so you can make parts of the ship tether to other places. And then you have like a laser cutter, and you are literally just salvaging spaceships. You're floating around in space. It's super relaxing. There's like light acoustic country music going the whole time. It's pretty chill. Would suggest. Realized my music stopped playing. Sorry, guys. And then we get into it. TCG Card Shop Simulator. I don't know why this game is as fun as it is. I've actually started playing it again recently. It was pretty hype when it came out. A lot of people got into it. And it is exactly just a simulator game. Supermarket simulator, all that kind of stuff. Very similar to that. Except you're selling trading card game stuff. It's a Pokemon ripoff called Tetramon. It's cute enough. And interestingly, whoever's been making it is wicked dedicated. They've had like 20 plus updates to it since it's come out. It's on 0.50D, I think. And honestly, like every week, every 2 weeks, they kept putting out updates. It's surprising dedication to an early access game, and I love to see that. So keep it up, TCG Card Shop Simulator. And we move on down. Farming Sim, for sure. A little bit of Oxygen not included. Terraria, Satisfactory. Project Zomboid. Bro, that is like the Dark Souls of 16-bit zombie survival. I can understand why people like it. I understand why I don't like it. It is way too slow. You have to be incredibly methodical. Like, you need to right click to wash some linen. You need to then perform the maneuver of drying it. You then need to tear it into pieces. You then need to make those pieces into bandages. It's like, bro, that is the level of authenticity I do not want in my games. That's like the depth of green hell. There's a survival crafting game where you're like stuck in a jungle, and it is that level of bullshit. I'm not into that kind of thing. I'd rather do like Ark, level of survival mechanic depth. Minecraft, Terraria. That's my intensity. What else we got in here? I Should Die, Terraria, Project Zomboid, Core Keeper. I wish I liked that game more. It's totally fine. It just didn't seem like there was enough to it. Unfortunately, I kind of got Matt into it as well, and he had the same issue I did. There wasn't enough depth to it, not enough going on to keep you around, and you can churn through that game pretty fast. Let's see. Nordic Ashes, of course, and then Vane. Okay, Vane wasn't... It's interesting. I made a couple of videos on it. Check them out. It definitely shows you state of play and core concept idea. Zombie survival game, but it's in like, I want to say Unreal 5? If it is, it looks terrible. It's just all asset shop stuff. Zombie survival game. Zombies are like everywhere pretty much, and you go from like it takes place in like suburbia, like upstate New York kind of thing, and you go from one house to the next, and you like go through cabinets and you get like frying pans and forks and food and car batteries and all sorts of different stuff, and it's actually really in depth. Problem is, it got kind of popular when it first came out, and now since it's a very small team, I think it's one, maybe two people. I've talked with the creator once or twice for some voice work stuff, and such a small team that it's hard for them to keep up with updates, with putting out more content, for implementing and testing things. So to keep the same fervor, the same like want from people, it's been super difficult for them. So check it out. It's free. They call it a demo, but it's the entire game. It's everything that they have done out all the time. It's always free. Creator, when we were talking, he was saying specifically that when he gets to the point that he thinks it's like a full game, that's when he'll open it up for people to pay for it. So big ups, honestly. Shout out to that. Megaloot. Oh, that's where you like... Okay, I think you're anthropomorphic mouse person going through a dungeon, and you have to like put gear in your backpack in a certain way. It was kind of like a puzzle game. Didn't really tickle my fancy. Terraria, clearly back into it. Satisfactory, and all the other stuff. Okay, I mean, Terraria, Satisfactory, Furthest Frontier, T-Mod Loader, which means I was playing Terraria. Tiny Rogues, honestly, man, that game looks terrible and is super fun. It is a top-down, man, that's 8-bit. That's even less than 8-bit. That's like 2 bits. It is one of the... It looks like a game that you could just draw in MS Paint. It's just a bunch of like straight lines. It barely... If I didn't have a controller and know that it was actually a really fun game, I wouldn't think that it's even a game. It is a roguelite. It is super fun. Incredible depth and variety to the different options that are presented to you. And when you have a choice, you have like 4, 5, 6 at a time of different options. It's not choose left or right. It's do you want a hammer, a sickle, a spear, a bow? Do you want a whip? It's something like that. A very interesting game. I wish I played more of it. It's not like I had to return it at Redbox or anything. It's just that there's so many games. As you can see, as we went further through the year here, I was super dedicated, and then it was just, oh man, I've got like a Steam library. Oh, there's so much going on, so many different games to play, and that's definitely where I've been at lately. Um, so for November, just recently here, Enshrouded. I played a bunch of that. Got into a couple of games with Time Capsule. Shout out, really fun, chilling, getting in games with him. Farthest Frontier, and 52% in just a bunch of other games, right? Nothing super of note. City Skylines, bro. I'm glad I paid like $2 for that game. It is confusing and way beyond my abilities. I don't even think I have the brain power to watch guides for it. It's that type of difficulty. That is some depth right there. Baldur's Gate 3. I'm surprised that didn't show up more on this list. No shit, huh? I think it's because it actually came out in 2023. I got like 160 hours in that game. I've still never beaten it. I've gotten to Act 3 like once. I don't know if I've ever actually made it to Baldur's Gate. I know. Red Dead 2, for sure. That's just such a beautiful game. I was recently talking with my buddy about GTA 6, and realistically, if they just made Florida version of Red Dead 2 in the modern era, and that's what GTA 6 is, I understand why it's going to be a multi-billion-dollar profit. From what I understand, Jason Schreier was saying that they've invested about $2 billion currently into production and marketing for GTA 6. That's like 2 AAA Marvel movies smashed together plus. And I expect it to make all that money and some back. GTA 6 is the only reason I did not get rid of my Xbox yet. There's nothing else that I'm that interested in, and Rockstar has said GTA 6 will come out to the consoles before computers, same as it always has. Kind of sucks, but hey, is what it is. That way they know they can cap it at 60. They don't have to worry about console commands or weird debug stuff. It makes it a lot easier. Shared architecture. I hope that they're not trying to do an Xbox Series S version. If they only did the flagship models, the X and PS5, that would be the smart move, but Microsoft's kind of dicks about it. Whatever, luck be a landlord. It's, imagine a slot machine, except you get to like slowly roguelite what you put onto the slot machine, and they all have like different synergistic things. So like, you can put an egg on here, and if you hit that 3 times, then it turns into a chicken, something like that. It's actually pretty fun. Nimrod's Guncraft Survivor. I do still make videos on that. Pretty fun game. Very Vampire Survivors, except looks 32 or 64 bit. Looks better. And the game. Interesting thing about Nimrod's is the game and the engine are totally made to be broken. As you go through, you create some of the most incredible combinations of like guns and attachments and stuff that it just, no enemy can exist on screen. You can make some of the most craziest shit in the world, and it just absolutely destroys everybody, and you cannot lose. Game is totally fine with that. They are for that occurring. Their Discord server is like, this is the choices you should do to be able to get those broken builds. Very fun. You can just turn your brain off and enjoy. Would suggest. And then December. I mean, what is this? 8% spinning and Enshrouded, and then everything else is just a less than 8%. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. The Hunter, Call of the Wild. I don't even know if I paid for that game. I might have gotten my refund actually for that. That game is really ugly, and not super fun. Yeah, that's my review. Out of 10, I would give it like a 3. It works. That's about it. Noita, bro, I don't think you... I've watched people do it. I've seen it. I've seen people beat Noita. I don't even, like, understand how they are able to do that. Again, Noita, this is one of those games where I would rather watch somebody play it than play it. I get mad as shit every time I play that game. I don't know why I keep loading it. Um, it looks like an older version of Terraria. It has nothing to do with like digging or any of that. It's that every single block is reactive. So if there are wood beams holding part of a structure up, they can catch on fire. They can get corroded by acid. There are like smoke particles, fire, acid, radiation, all sorts of different things. The game is ridiculously hard, and it looks really simple, but it's not. The game is an absolute torture trial. I am legitimately better at Path of Exile and like Demon Soul games. This is that level of difficulty in a like 2D roguelite. I If you want to have a terrible time because something is so difficult, and that's Noita. Yep. I don't think I would suggest it. I would not suggest ever playing that game. I do not suggest playing Noita. I suggest watching like a 10-minute review and being like, okay, cool, I get it. I'm not doing that. The rest of these games, honestly, the rest of these, totally. 14% of my playtime with a controller. 128 different times I played with a controller. Holy shit. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, Farming Simulator 22, I played most of it on the Xbox. It just translates perfectly. I remember keystroke movement kind of deal. Nimrods, because it is such a simple game, when I realized that it had like Steam controller support, you see that on their store pages. I mean, you need the left stick to move. That's pretty much all you do. And then you get three choices. You get choices, and then you press A. Simple enough. Spider-Man, I mean, it's that type of game where I would never want to try and use my keyboard to do things like that. You need twin sticks. That's how my brain works. I've been playing on controllers for long enough. And I mean, same thing for Horizon and Red Dead. Actually, Red Dead, again, to Rockstar, they always put stuff out on consoles first. So it was very much so designed to be on a controller. And I think the same thing for Horizon. Demos, okay. I did play a bunch of demos. Sand. I was going to do a whole series on this. I actually recorded 2 episodes. I had some people from Discord that jumped in. Problem is that game kind of sucks. It's got a lot of like ideas behind it, but the execution really disappointing. As you can see, you are on these giant sand walkers. Imagine Starfield shipbuilding, how it's all modularity, so you can design, you build these. That part's really cool, but then you get in them, and it's like tank battle, you versus other people, and it's all on a big server, so everybody's fighting against everybody else. Thumbs down on that PvP shit. And there are a couple of people, you run into this probably in like every PvP thing. There's some people that have a lot of dedicated time into it, and they just know how to wreck your day, and they do. And that's not fun. Would not suggest. Maybe if the game gets better and the community, does as well, wouldn't suggest it. Orebound, it's a voxel-based survival builder kind of thing. It was super messed up when I played it. Lots of issues with it. Would not get into it. Worshippers of Cthulhu is how most people say it. Just sticking with you. So forgettable. It was a little city builder thing. Very Warcraft 1 orcs versus humans style to it. Poor execution. Longest day streak from July to September, 34 days in a row. I played 17 different games, so that means 1 game for every 2 days. Okay. Except realistically, we all know that it was mostly Satisfactory and Farthest Frontier. It was my biggest area right there. Yeah. Explore the games. Goobies. Uh, this game put my computer through the ringer. The last computer graphics card I had, because there's so many on-screen effects. It's a Vampire Survivor like game, except everything's like a blob. They're all goobies, and so many on-screen effects. Everything was like lighting on fire and then exploding, and there were a thousand different like enemies on the screen all at the same time. It definitely got down to like a frame per second. It was nuts. Serum, it just was not complete enough, even as a demo. Proof of concept was pretty much all they had there. Yeah, this is that Maniac game. I don't know. It's not for everybody. Valheim, bro. Enshrouded is just a better version of Valheim. It's all the things that you wanted from Valheim, except it looks good and it runs. Time Capsule, he says that the building's better in Valheim, which I could not suffer through enough Valheim to know. Sworn? Is that what this is? Bro, I have no idea. Totally forget. No, the cops are not coming for me. That's just a siren. Probably. Definitely not coming for me. Yeah. Shipbreaker, super fun. Enter the Gungeon. It says that this is the first time I ever played it. It is very much not the first time I ever played it. I can pretty much... I might be able to fresh file Enter the Gungeon. I can get very close. It's definitely like in the competition where I can, as a roguelite, just fresh install the game, single file, one time, run and beat it. I am not tooting my own horn, but I've played way too much of that to be shitty at it. Frostpunk 2, I saw that they recently went through and made some very dynamic changes to how the game plays. A lot of UI improvements, and I just reinstalled it. Very interested. I want to go through, check that out. Project Zomboid, I'm just never playing that again if I can avoid it. What else we got on here? Dungeon Tycoon. Fun little game. Little is the emphasis there. You get about 15 hours out of this game and you're done. Everything is completed. You've gotten every achievement and it's finished. I beat it completely. Completed that game in like one weekend. Kind of disappointing, but it was super cheap, so. Nimrod's, definitely going to keep playing that. They put out more stuff pretty frequently. Path of Exile, like most action role-playing games, I kind of peter out on them. I think I got to upper 20s with the Witch I had, and it just felt like I was going to be doing the same thing over and over and over, but with just more numbers. And because it's in early access right now, you just have the first 3 acts, and you have to do them twice, and then you get into the end game, which is supposedly just a different playstyle completely than the campaign portion. So I'm not super interested in pushing further into that. I'll probably get on with a couple of members from the community. We've got a couple of channel members that are into it, so we'll probably game from time to time. Enshrouded, I am definitely far more likely to get back into. There's a lot of base building stuff, super chill, exploration, and you've got like cool gliders, like parachute stuff. I really enjoy the mobility aspect of that. Red Dead 2, of course, I'm going to play a lot more of that. I'm pretty early in the story still. I think I'm at like Overlook or something. So it's mostly just because I've got a really nice OLED TV, a 4070 Super, and it is unbelievably pretty going back and looking at that game. Sometimes I just like set up a campsite and have Arthur sit in his tent and just watch rain and lightning come over the horizons. Is beautiful. Love it. Would suggest. Yeah, 1%. It says that I've played this less. I played this less. I don't believe that this statistically is correct. Oxygen Not Included would suggest you should check it out. Call of the Wild. Never ever play this game. And yeah, thank you everybody for joining. As it said right up at the top, I've been Pat the Pauper, and we are Cardboard Odyssey. So thank you for joining us on this journey. If you'd like to share any of your comments on my play style or my opinions, put them down below. And while you're in the comment section, go ahead, hit that like, the subscribe, do all that stuff. But I want to hear your Steam replay of 2024. What were your big highlights? Did you beat my numbers? Let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, you've been awesome, and I've been Pat. Take care of yourself.